Hello, my name is Jarrad Seng. You may know me from such roles as Fake Steve Aoki, and that's probably about it. Hopefully some of you know me through my work in photography and film. I wrote down here that I should say cool stuff I've done, but Giselle's done that about now, so that's okay, I'll skip the name dropping. That's good. Cool, so yeah, I get a lot of questions from young photographers and other artists as well, asking a lot of things, but one of the main things that gets asked is, how did you go from just taking photos as a hobby to it becoming your career? And there's obviously a lot of things and factors involved with that, but one of the main things I've found, in my case anyway, is just taking risks and being willing to take risks to go further in your career. Next. Didn't really show you much anyway. So every artist takes risks, and I'm assuming everyone here is a creative or interested in being a creative and having that as a career, and so you all know that as artists we take risks all the time, and you all know how hard it is to pour your heart into something and slave over it for months and then send it out into the world to be judged, and then it gets like one like on Facebook and then your life's over. So every time we do something, you're putting yourself out there to be judged, and that's a hard thing to do. And even me speaking right now, it was a bit of a risk. There's an extreme chance of me being embarrassed and humiliated, but I took it on. And risks are what we take on in order to get the reward. And taking a lot of risks, I think, is how I got to where I am now. So number one, taking the leap. So I guess for any artist, the first risk you take is just starting and going from just thinking something is a cool idea to actually doing it, and that is a pretty hard thing to do. It's a very daunting thing to pursue an art form. In my case, it's photography, and the risk was, I guess, how expensive the gear was, and just the fear that I would be shit at it, and you don't know that until you start. So I think the next slide is I found an old message, like the first message I ever sent someone. It was pretty funny, so I thought you probably can't read it out from here, but it's from 2009 on Facebook, and there was a photographer I knew called Anthony. So this is the message I sent him. Hey, topic, blues and roots photos. Hey Anthony, well finally I'm getting started with the whole photography thing. I'll be shooting, that's a bit boring. This will be my first time shooting anything, so just wondering if you could hit me up with any tips or guidelines, the kind of stuff you wish you were told when you were starting out. A bit nervous about it really, but really keen to get into it after all this time. So that's the kind of lame messages I used to send to people when I was first starting out, and it's kind of what I get now, but I just thought it'd be funny to show you kind of where it all started, and that is how it started, Blues and Roots Festival. I was kind of writing for a few music magazines at the time, and writing was really where I thought I would have my career. But this guy Anthony, I always saw him at the same shows, and I'd be up at the back of the room with a little notepad, writing about whatever, and then he'd be right next to the artist with the camera, running around doing this cool stuff, and I was really jealous. And then anyway, I had to fill in the media accreditation form for Blues and Roots. I was just meant to go as a reviewer, and there was a little box that said, review pass, and I ticked it, I'm a reviewer. And there was another little box next to it that said, do you need a photography pass as well? And I was like, yeah, I do, yeah. And I thought, okay, obviously they're going to know I'm not a photographer, who am I? But, surprise, they sent me a media pass in the mail, and I suddenly just had to actually be a photographer, and I borrowed a friend's camera. I took this tiny little 50mm lens, and any photographers there, I looked like an idiot next to these guys with, the massive 70-200 lenses, and I was just like a little boy in the front, just kind of clicking away. But it was the most exciting thing I'd done up to a point, and I just knew that, this is something I should take further. So anyway, that worked out. I think that counts as my big risk, taking the leap. I guess the lesson is, if there's something that excites you, or something you just know that you want to do, or you just have to try it. Even if it's likely that you'll be super shit at it, you should just still give it a shot, because you'll never know, and you'll never forgive yourself if you don't at least try. Next slide. So I called it 1.5 because it's still taking a leap, but I'm calling this leap leaving the day job. So I used to actually work at Propel Youth Arts, which Matt was talking about before. I think I actually hired you for that for the octopus squid job, so you're welcome. But yeah, it was a great job. I was working with young artists. I was learning a lot about the arts industry. It was part-time. Had a really great boss. She let me just sleep in whenever I wanted, and as long as I worked later, it was great. And so, but then photography was taking off at the same time, and it got to a point where I just had to keep asking my boss if I could have time off to do this job and do whatever. And then it came to a point where I was like, I'm just going to have to choose one way or another. I'm holding myself back on both accounts unless I choose one. So this is a pretty tough call, leaving a financially secure actual job to pursue something creative, something unknown. It took me a long time to come to the decision. I thought that I was doing all right stuff with photography. I was doing things that I wanted, but there was not that much pressure on me because I could just do what I want, and then I've got this other job to fall back on. So there was no pressure. But then I thought if I left the job at Propel and all I was relying on was photography to make a full-time income, I thought that would definitely change everything. And suddenly I would just have to say yes to everything because I need the money. I've got no other way of making money. So I thought that I would just be doing baby portraits and photographing Bogan's cars or whatever, just being a slave to the man. But it didn't really turn out that way. I don't think I've ever taken a baby portrait yet. So it worked out. I was inspired by my friend Stu Larson. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a musician. He's lived his last 5 years on the road. He doesn't have a home. And he was really the big push. He was giving me a lot of advice, and he told me that I just, if it's something I want to do, you just need to do it. I need to free myself from everything holding me back, just, have an open road in front of me and just take a chance. And he said, you'll make it work. And he did. So you just have to trust your gut and know when the time is right to move on, once you've learned all you can from a particular job or thing, and just take a chance on the unknown. Maybe it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world, get another job, whatever, done. I'm not sure what slide is next, I put like a joke slide in, I can't remember if I took it out, okay, I left it in. It really has no relevance, but I was looking through my old messages to find funny things, and I found this funny email, which was Monique, my old boss. So I left Propel, and then she emailed me saying, well, you need to send a goodbye message to everyone else. And so I said, here's my email. Hey motherfuckers, I'm going and there's nothing you can do about it, bitch. She didn't send that out, she vetoed that one. Next slide I think is a great, just talking about work and pursuing your dreams. There's a great Jim Carrey quote that's been floating around for a little bit. I guess I'll just read it out. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that was possible for him, so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant, and when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job, and our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. And I love that quote, sums everything up. Next slide. Oh, side story about another thing that I left. I don't know how many, probably no one knows, but I was actually studying a law degree at UWA to begin with. And anyone that knows me now, well, I thought, and I left the law degree to do a different degree, never graduated either of them actually. And at the time I thought I was taking a massive risk, I thought I was choosing the high ground and, not being a slave to the man and making all the money and choosing to be an artist. But looking back now, anyone that knows me would know that I would make the shittest lawyer ever. So it probably was the worst, but it would be the worst decision to be a lawyer anyway. I reckon I just wouldn't have passed, so I would be the worst lawyer and have the shittest life. So well done me. Next slide. Work with people you believe in. So this is a guy called Passenger. His name is Mike Rosenberg. That's a recent photo, but I thought I'd use him as the example. So in 2012, I was faced with a pretty big dilemma. I'd say it's the biggest kind of fork in the road kind of thing I've faced. But I've been working with the Perth International Arts Festival for a few years as their photographer. It was my big break. It was a huge break for me. I'd just started and suddenly landed this job at the Perth Festival, which is a pretty big deal. And it's what put me on the map. And I thought I should keep this job for a long time because it was giving me a lot of good opportunities. So in 2012, after a few years, I met this little-known British man called Mike Rosenberg, aka Passenger. So I met him. He was busking on the street, said hello, and then he was playing a show at Mojo's. So that's the level he was at. So like a 100, 150 level room. We just hung out, got along really well. I had suddenly got a shiny new camera that could record video. So I just asked him, let's record a video right here at the back, just for fun, it'll take 5 minutes. And it ended up that he loved it, and straight away he asked me to go on tour with him. And this was my big dilemma, because the tour was on the same time as the Perth Festival. And Passenger back then was not the Passenger some of you guys might know now. Nobody knew who he was. He couldn't really afford to pay me anything, and I think it ended up being a couple $100 a week. And Perth Festival was what I loved doing, shooting the arts, and every opportunity I was getting at that moment had come from the Perth Festival. That burst, going on tour with this guy, kind of just put all my faith in him, and thought about it for a while, and in the end I decided to go with him because he was a great musician, he was a great guy, he seemed really honest, he was just making brilliant work, just people didn't know about him. So I went on tour, got paid pretty much nothing. We shared beds in hostels, played in tiny little pubs, but he was incredible. So I stuck with him and I believed in him, and I chose him over the safe, risk-free option. And then what happened after that? Well, I never worked for Perth Festival again. I think they were a bit upset for me for bailing on them. That's gone. But I was right about Passenger, and I put a lot of faith in him, and it paid off because I think I've got a few slides. I think the first one coming up that's from the first tour I went with him. There was meant to be a bit of a pause between them, but that's 2012. That's the first tour I did with him. This is him being very depressed, playing to a pub of there's probably about 12 people sitting on the floor watching. There's guys at the bar just talking over because it's their regular pub night. This is in Warrnambool, regional Victoria or something. Anyway, it was the low point of the whole thing, but we stuck through it. Fast forward a year, and he's playing at the Palais in Melbourne. And fast forward another year, this is the Royal Albert Hall in London. So, I could talk about Passenger for days. He's a great inspiration of mine, and just an example of putting your faith in what you want to do. And he was busking on the street for 6 or 7 years before any of this happened. So, take a chance on people that you believe in, and it will pay off. Next. Oh, I forgot about this. I drew this up just, a couple hours ago. I thought it was funny, but I don't really know if it's relevant anymore. But I'll explain it. It has no relevance, but basically, this is my interpretation of life as a creative and the relationship between fun and money. So it's an inverse relationship, and what I'm proposing here is that the more fun something is, the less money you'll get from it. I think that's pretty true. So right at the top, I've put concert photos. Everyone wants to take concert photos. You're so cool if you're a music photographer. But there's 5 million people trying to do the same thing. You'll get paid nothing for that. So lots of fun, no money. And then down the other end, I've put family portraits. Because that's a lot of money, but you'll hate yourself. So. And then I expanded. I was pretty proud. I was like, I can make this, I can expand this even further. So the green one, the straight line, is what I reckon is when you first start out. It's a straight line, it's basically, the more fun something is, the less chance you get paid for it well. And the reason is because more people want to do it. And then I thought, what about I add another line? for when, as you progress further and you become more established as an artist. And then I thought that could be a curvy line, so you're getting closer to that elusive dream job dot up there, which is where it's a lot of fun and a lot of money. Anyway, let's make that thing. Cool. Oh, talking about risk, that's right. This is a risk, just ask, take a chance. Seems simple, seems whatever, but I find a lot of people are pretty hesitant just to ask for help or ask someone if they're interested in an opportunity or ask someone to collaborate with, because I guess there's a fear of rejection or looking like an idiot or whatever, but you'll be surprised at how much you can achieve just by asking for it. And I've tried to relate everything to a project of mine so it's less vague. So the one I chose here was a project of mine called The Hidden Sound, which was, there's only been one, but the concept was, it's nothing to do with photography as well, by the way, but the concept was I would hold an event, hold a secret show for 100 people, and ask people to buy tickets to this thing without knowing where it would be at all or who would play. So you just pay them like $30, but it could be anything. I'd really played it down. I told everyone that it would be a busker, and I tried to secretly leak out that it would be Eskimo Joe or something like that. But it's a crazy idea because I just wanted it to be just for fun, no reason, just for the love of music, cheap tickets, no corporate sponsors involved, just for the music. The problem with doing that and not having corporate sponsors involved is that there's no money in it at all. So everyone was just chipping in for free, everyone was just volunteering. I just asked everyone, and just on the strength of the idea, everyone was on board. And the hardest one, of course, to get on board was Kate Miller-Heidke. And I was really hesitant in asking her because I thought it would be a bit offensive asking her to play for free at a silly thing in Perth that she would get nothing out of. And I also heard from my friend that they tried to book her for a corporate gig and her fee was $30,000. I thought, I know Kate, we've met, I've done her some favours, I'll just ask, what's the worst that can happen? So I asked, I said, will you do it? And she said yes. So, it's the power of asking. You never know until you ask. So don't be afraid to ask for help, ask for advice. The worst that could happen is, she would say no, might be embarrassed for a little bit, but you move on from that. Next. Another risk, meet strange people from the internet. And I'll put in brackets, meet all the people, because whatever. Don't just meet people from the internet. Meet people in real life. So I think something that has stood out from the way I do things and the way people see me doing things is just a willingness to meet people and meet a lot of strange people from the internet. And by that I mean Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Is it risky? Yes, you could get murdered by a weirdo. But the chance of connecting with someone and something great coming out of it, it's worth it. So I chose this guy in the picture. His name's Scotty. I met him in Auckland. And what the deal was, I was there for a couple of days. And I was doing some filming, and I've never been to New Zealand before. I don't know what's there. So I put on Instagram. I said, "Hey, can someone show me around Auckland tomorrow?" I think I screenshotted and up on the next slide I put some screenshots up of the... So this is basically how every one of my projects starts. This is me saying, "Hi, anyone, can you help me?" And on the next side it's this random guy, Scotty, don't know who he is, but it's "Yeah, cool man, I'll meet you at dawn." I was like, alright, let's do it. So, we met up at dawn, found a big rock and he climbed it and I took a photo of it. And he was a cool guy, but it doesn't just stop there, because if that was it, that would have been cool. Met a cool guy in New Zealand, I can hang out with him later, he's a photographer, we bond over that, whatever. But there's always a chance for something more. And then another project came up a few weeks later, so I only hung out with him for a few hours and that was it, but he seemed cool. And then I had a chance to shoot a promo ad for Tourism Queensland, and I was able to put together a team and fly people over. And then I just remembered this guy that I hung out with a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, Scotty guy was pretty cool. So I just messaged him and said, do you want to come to Queensland? And he did. So next slide. This is all pretty relevant again, but that's us hanging out in Queensland now. So, from these little chance meetings, you can go as far as you take it. You just always got to give yourself a chance. It's hard to explain what's going on. No explanation really, anyway. Another example I've put up is a music video I was shooting in Sydney for Passenger. Go to the next slide, probably. Oh, you can't read that. Anyway, back to Passenger. He asked me to do a music video, I think it was early last year. And I actually tried to convince him to find someone else to do it because I thought I wasn't up for it. I thought I was very unqualified. We did a lot of small videos together. I was really a photographer and a filmmaker. So I told him, you are famous now and rich. You can get anyone you want. Why do you want my stupid little 5D when you can have $100,000 cameras, doing a proper production? And he just said, no, I trust you. I don't need, I hate everyone else, so I just want it to be me and you. Let's just do it. Let's go into the woods. And I was like, okay, well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but anyway. So again, my go-to, Instagram, put a call out here. You can't read it, and neither can I, but it says something like, guys, I'm in trouble. I'm going to Sydney in the forest. I want fairy lights in the forest. Can someone do that for me? I need a stylist, I need an assistant, whatever. All these people replied, everyone tagged themselves in, and I didn't really know any other film people in Sydney, so I just trusted Instagram. You always have a little bit of a stalk of them to just make sure they're not too weird. But found some cool people, and went an awesome video. The entire crew was sourced from Instagram. My stylist, this model, she looked pretty on Instagram, so I said she could be in it. And an assistant, it's another girl. And that was that, and I think it's the most popular video I've done on YouTube. It has like 8 million views or something, and that all just came from putting a call out on Instagram and just trusting people and asking for help and using the internet as a resource. So it might be risky meeting people, but it opens you up to so many more creative possibilities. So I'm counting that as a risk you should take. Next one. That's it. Okay. I think what I meant by this one is that play the long game. So if something doesn't pay off straight away, if you have faith in your idea, then don't just let it go. You just keep going. You keep persisting. So a lot of great projects of mine have taken years to come together, and most people don't realise because all you see is the highlights that come up on Facebook. But there's a lot of work that goes into everything. Why did I choose this photo? That's a question, isn't it? Okay, I remember. So that's Ed Sheeran playing in London, and this exact photo, because he does this every set. When he gets to the 18, his big song, he gets everyone to pull out their mobile phones and shine it, and it always looks so cool. But I was never allowed to be on the stage to take a photo from behind. And that's all I ever wanted, was to take a photo, like just to run on stage, sit down behind and take a photo and run off. All I wanted to do, but no one ever let me because they said it would be too distracting. And that no one's allowed to see me on stage. It's just aired, whatever. Don't take the limelight away. So I think it's like maybe I've been shooting about 5 or 6 Ed shows over the course of a couple of years, and every time I asked them if I could take it, and I said no every time. Finally, after what seemed like 2 years or something, I built enough trust. I never got angry about it. I never tried to just run and do it anyway, which I'm sure I could have. But eventually, built up the trust. This was to start last year. I asked him again. I said, "Please, stage manager, man, can I get that photo I always ask for?" And he said, "Okay, you've got like 10 seconds." So that was an achievement of mine. That was proof to me that you keep chipping away at someone and you just build up the trust. You can get there. There's another example I think I've got coming up. Just more random screenshots, my favourite thing. His first email at the top, I just thought I'd throw this one in because just talking about the Hidden Sound show before with Kate Miller-Heidke, I don't know if you can see the date there, but it's the subject is Photos at the Astor plus Secret Show Idea, and that was in 2012. So that's how long it took me to get that show happening. But if they say no to begin with, you just respect their reasons for it. And it was probably because I, was a bit of an idiot back then. But I've got a bit cooler since then. I've built up my contacts. I know what I'm doing. And I threw the question out there again a few years later, and then we got the yes. The second one here, more examples of just people ignoring me, which happens a lot more than you realise. I think this is an email from 2013. I've got a new project. I'm actually working on it now, where I want to take portraits of all my favourite artists in Perth, and it's going to be a bit weird. So anyway, this is me emailing Katie Steele's manager, just out of the blue, being like, "Hello, can I please take a photo of Katie?" And the response is, "Thanks for the email. I'll pass it on to Katie. I'll let you know if we want to do something." Of course, never received a reply. Didn't blame them. Whatever. Became cooler. Did a lot more work. Got a lot more experience. And this is a reply, from a week ago now, saying a completely different vibe. "Oh, awesome! Yeah, I'd be totally keen for that." Blah, 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 blah. Don't give up on the first go. And this last one down the bottom, this is my top secret one because it looks like I might have my next artist ready for the next Hidden Sound. This was someone I thought, I would never dream of having them. I said no, of course, the first go. Met them, hung out with them, worked together, and now this is the new email. "We love the idea of your event and really want to be a part of it as it feels like a rare opportunity." So the lesson through all of that is just persist. If you've got a good idea, you just keep going with it, and you make sure you have something better to offer each time you ask. Don't be annoying, but don't give up on your dream. Next slide. This is another irrelevant email, but this is one I got from Ed Sheeran's dad, saying, "Here's a shot of the framed Albert Hall photo. I hope you like it." So from all of that, whatever happened, Ed Sheeran's dad has that photo on his wall. So next one. Do something stupid every now and then. So that's me as fake Steve with the real Steve in Melbourne. So that was, very, very clearly the stupidest thing I've ever done. I don't know how many of you know of it or not, but he's a famous DJ. I dressed up as him, pretended to be him at Stereosonic. A lot of people got selfies with me, and I felt really bad because things kept popping up on Instagram, like my year has been made, met my idol, dream life, and it was just a photo of me. Anyway, escalated really quickly. So this is actually part 2 of the prank. Part 1 was just me being an idiot. Part 2 was he found out about it and flew me over to Melbourne so we could do a part 2 prank together where he pretended to be me as a photographer and he took photos of me with his fans. So, very dumb, very fun. Such a stupid idea, but look at what can happen from a stupid idea. And of course, it would have been easier to just stay at home and not spend $300 on Stereosonic tickets, which I've never been to in my life. I had to put glue and wool on my face for 12 hours. But dumb ideas get big reactions. That was me taking a bit of a risk. Next slide. Kind of like what Todd was saying at the beginning. I think, you stick to a few little basic rules. Number 1, don't be a douchebag. That will help you out a lot. And do work hard and be nice to people. So I strongly, strongly believe that if you have the right attitude, you respect people, you work hard, there's no real risk, at all. Things will work out if you just respect people and work hard. Things will work out, people will want to help you, people will look out for you. If you're a good person, things will work out, and I think that applies, of course, for everything, but for art in particular. I think that might be my last slide. That's my favourite quote. Like, bad decisions make great stories. You know, when things don't work out, don't worry about it. You've got a funny story. There's so many stupid stories I have now from when things didn't go quite right. Yeah, YOLO. That's it.